Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to you about something that often goes unnoticed in our fast-paced lives: the importance of training the mind. We invest so much time and energy into physical health, career goals, and external achievements. But what about the one thing that controls how we interpret, respond to, and shape the world around us? That's right, our mind. The human mind is an extraordinary instrument, capable of incredible imagination, innovation, and adaptation. It governs everything from the thoughts we think to the actions we take, influencing how we experience life itself. Yet, despite its central role, many people overlook the need to nurture and train their minds. Just as athletes commit themselves to rigorous physical training to perform at their peak, individuals must recognize the need to exercise their mental faculties to operate with clarity, strength, and purpose. Ignoring this truth leads to a passive existence where external circumstances dictate emotions, reactions, and decisions. When we consider how much time we dedicate to physical fitness, diets, and routines to maintain bodily health, it becomes clear that the same level of attention should be given to our mental health and cognitive strength. A strong mind doesn't just happen, it is cultivated through consistent effort and intentional practices. This includes challenging limiting beliefs, pushing the boundaries of comfort zones, and developing habits that nourish the intellect. Just like lifting weights builds muscle, engaging in mental exercises like reading, reflection, problem solving, and critical thinking sharpens the intellect and fosters resilience. Furthermore, the power of a trained mind lies in its ability to remain grounded amidst chaos and uncertainty. It helps us detach from impulsive reactions, giving us the space to respond rather than react. This kind of control doesn't appear overnight. It's the result of disciplined training and self-worthness. People with trained minds are better equipped to handle challenges, think long-term, and make rational choices under pressure. They don't just cope, they navigate life with strategy and wisdom because they've equipped themselves with the tools to do so. In addition, training the mind leads to greater mastery over one's emotions and internal dialogue. Our thoughts are constantly shaping our reality, whether we are aware of it or not. Left unchecked, negative thinking patterns can erode confidence and block growth. However, when we actively train the mind, we become aware of these patterns and learn how to replace them with empowering narratives. This transformation doesn't just affect how we feel, it affects how we act, what we pursue, and ultimately who we become. When the mind is left untrained, it becomes a chaotic environment where negative thoughts, self-doubt, and distractions take root and grow unchecked. Without conscious effort to shape and strengthen the mind, we become vulnerable to the noise around us, absorbing opinions, fears, and expectations without discernment. This lack of mental discipline leads to confusion as we find ourselves pulled in different directions, unsure of our own voice or value. Our internal compass weakens, and we lose clarity about what we truly want or believe, making it easy to fall into indecision or anxiety. An untrained mind also becomes overly reactive. Instead of thoughtfully responding to situations, we begin to react impulsively based on emotions or external triggers. A single criticism can ruin our day. A small failure can lead to spiraling self-doubt. This reactive behavior puts us at the mercy of circumstances, allowing outside events to control our internal state. Without mental strength, we can easily be overwhelmed by minor setbacks or consumed by worries about the future. Life begins to feel like something that happens to us rather than something we are actively shaping. Moreover, chronic mental neglect can result in heightened anxiety and emotional instability. Mean that regards can erode confidence and maturity. These mental patterns, if left unchallenged, communication creates appropriation and impetude. Like over time, we may feel drained, mentally scattered, and emotionally fragile, which can affect our relationships, productivity, and overall well-being. Ultimately, living with a neglected mind means surrendering control of our inner world. We let circumstances dictate our moods. We follow every distraction, and we feel perpetually stuck in cycles of overthinking. The absence of mental discipline doesn't just limit our success, it limits our potential to live a life of clarity, peace, and meaning. Training the mind is a deliberate process that brings profound benefits, starting with the ability to cultivate focus. In a world filled with constant distractions, from endless notifications to a flood of information, maintaining concentration has become a rare and valuable skill. A trained mind can resist these distractions and maintain attention on a chosen task or goal, even in the face of interruption. This heightened focus doesn't come by chance. It is the result of daily practice, intentional mindfulness, and the ability to redirect attention when it drifts. The more one trains the mind, the sharper and more sustained this focus becomes, allowing individuals to achieve greater productivity and deeper engagement with whatever they do. In addition to improved focus, mental training builds resilience, the capacity to bounce back from adversity, failure, and emotional setbacks. Life is full of challenges, and without resilience, even small difficulties can feel overwhelming. When the mind is strong, however, we gain the ability to see setbacks as temporary and manageable, rather than catastrophic. This mental toughness is not about ignoring emotions or pretending to be unaffected. It's about learning to process pain, accept reality, and still move forward with strength and hope. People with trained minds are better equipped to face hardship, not because their lives are easier, but because their inner foundation is stronger. Clarity is another key result of consistent mental training. When the mind is clouded with overthinking, conflicting desires or emotional noise, it becomes difficult to make clear, wise decisions. A trained mind cuts through that mental fog, providing a sharper sense of purpose and direction. It becomes easier to distinguish between what truly matters and what is just a distraction. This clarity enhances decision making and boosts confidence because it stems from an inner knowing rather than from external approval or confusion. With clarity, we no longer wander aimlessly. We move with intention and meaning. The combination of focus, resilience, and clarity transforms how we experience life. These qualities enable us not just to manage the day-to-day, but to rise above the chaos and operate from a place of inner stability. Focus allows us to pursue our goals with precision. Resilience helps us overcome the inevitable obstacles, and clarity ensures we remain aligned with our deeper purpose. These traits are not inherited. They are built through consistent practice and mental discipline. Over time, this training elevates not only how we think, but who we are becoming. Mental training isn't a mysterious or complicated process. It is made up of simple yet powerful practices that, when done consistently, bring remarkable transformation. One of the most effective ways to train the mind is through meditation. Meditation allows us to quiet the constant chatter and regain control over our thoughts. It develops the ability to observe the mind without judgment and to detach from the emotional reactions that often control us. Through regular meditation, we can learn to recognize negative patterns and gradually replace them with more constructive, centered responses. Even a few minutes a day can cultivate awareness, calmness, and inner strength. Journaling is another essential practice for mental development. Writing thoughts down helps to organize and clarify them. It's a space where we can process emotions, explore challenges, and track our personal growth. Journaling allows the mind to release stress by expressing what we feel in a safe and private way. Over time, this practice builds self-awareness and insight. It helps us see recurring patterns in our behavior, recognize what truly matters to us, and make more informed decisions. It's not about perfect writing. It's about honest reflection and giving form to the invisible thoughts that influence our daily lives. Another key method is personal reflection, the art of pausing and looking inward. Hermeting is moments of reflection, helping to connect our experiences to our intentions. When we ask ourselves meaningful questions, what could I have done differently? These moments of reflection help decide. They strengthen our ability to learn from life rather than simply pass through it. Before returning to our journey, ensuring we live with intention, not habit. Lastly, continuous learning is fundamental to mental training. Feeding the mind with knowledge, whether through books, podcasts, courses, or conversation, keeps it active and evolving. Learning doesn't just expand what we know. It challenges how we think. It encourages curiosity, openness, and humility. When we make learning a habit, we stretch our mental boundaries and adapt more quickly to change. It prevents stagnation and cultivates the growth mindset needed to thrive in a complex world. Whether it's mastering a new skill or gaining perspective on different ideas, learning is how we keep the mind sharp, flexible, and forward moving. Life is full of inevitable stresses. An instant creates peace between the event and our response. It gives us the ability to remain calm and composed in high stress situations, allowing for wiser choices. This kind of strength is not visible from the outside, but it is deeply rooted in internal discipline and emotional regulation developed over time. Grace in the face of difficulty is a rare but powerful trait. A person with a trained mind is not only strong but also emotionally graceful. They understand that challenges are a part of life's natural rhythm and do not see adversity as a punishment but as an opportunity for growth. When setbacks occur, instead of resisting reality or blaming others, they accept the situation and focus on what they can control. This grace, as a result of practiced mindfulness, self-seriousness, and the inner work of letting go of unnecessary fear. With this perspective, even the most difficult times become stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. Moreover, a trained mind reduces the overwhelming intensity of stress by breaking it down into manageable parts. It knows how to prioritize, how to shift perspective, and how to move forward without panic. Mental discipline teaches us to breathe through discomfort, to pause before reacting, and to navigate complexity with clarity. It enables us to separate emotions from facts and focus on solutions rather than problems. Instead of being consumed by worry, we develop the strength to stay grounded and steady, no matter how turbulent the situation around us may be. This strength and grace are not innate qualities. They are built day by day through intentional mental practice. The more we train our minds, the more prepared we are for the unpredictable nature of life. We become emotionally agile, able to adapt without losing our balance. With a strong mental foundation, we can endure hardship without bitterness, face pressure without fear, and recover from disappointment with dignity. This ability to handle life's stresses with both strength and grace is one of the most empowering outcomes of consistent mental training. The mentality of consistent mental training, no? Antility are beyond. Emotional intelligence is a critical life skill that determines how effectively we interact with others and manage our internal world. It encompasses self-awareness, empathy, emotional regulation, and interpersonal skills. Taking time to train the mind through practices like mindfulness, reflection, and observation leads directly to the cultivation of emotional intelligence. By becoming more aware of our thoughts, feelings, and behavioral patterns, we begin to understand what drives our reactions. We learn to pause, assess our emotions, and choose our responses more thoughtfully. This conscious approach to emotion allows us to navigate personal and professional relationships with maturity and depth. Self-awareness as a foundational part of emotional intelligence grows stronger with regular mental training. When we take time to turn inward, whether through journaling, meditation, or thoughtful solitude, we gain insight into our motivations, fears, and recurring thought patterns. This internal clarity helps us recognize how we show up in different situations and how our emotional states affect others. A heightened sense of self-centeredness empowers us to take responsibility for our actions and adjust our behavior when needed. Rather than acting on impulse or emotion, we become more deliberate and aligned with our values and intentions. Furthermore, mental development helps us become more attuned to the emotions of others. With a trained and observant mind, we develop greater empathy, the ability to understand and feel what someone else may be going through. We begin to listen more actively and communicate more mindfully. We stop reacting from ego and start responding with compassion and wisdom. This emotional sensitivity enhances not only our relationships but also our leadership skills, making us better collaborators, mentors, and friends. The more we train our minds to recognize emotional cues, the more deeply we connect with those around us. The result of this growth is a greater sense of emotional balance and stability. Instead of being at the mercy of mood swings, stress, or unresolved past experiences, we learn to process emotions constructively. We don't suppress our feelings, we understand them. Mental development gives us the tools to acknowledge pain, celebrate joy, and face confidence. Over time, we become less reactive and more resilient, less judgmental and more accepting. This evolution doesn't just change how we feel, it changes how we relate to others and how we shape our lives, one emotionally intelligent decision at a time. A disciplined mind serves as the foundation for genuine personal growth. A discipline allows us to push through resistance, stay committed to our goals, and overcome the distractions that often derail our effort. Whether we are trying to improve our health, learn a new skill, or develop strong relationships, success in any area of life requires sustained effort. And that effort begins with the ability to direct the mind toward meaningful action. A disciplined mind helps us move beyond temporary motivation and into the realm of steady, purposeful development. Beyond achievement, mental discipline also brings peace. A mind that is chaotic, reactive, and undisciplined tends to be filled with anxiety, regret, and frustration. But a focused mind is calm and centered. It knows when to act and when to let go. It doesn't waste energy on unnecessary worry or overthinking. Instead, it operates from a place of clarity and intentionality. This inner stillness is not something that can be purchased or gifted. It is the reward of consistent mental effort. It grows stronger with every decision to remain present. Every moment spent in reflection, and every time we choose patience, true success, the kind that goes beyond material gain, is deeply rooted in the strength of the mind. It is not just about what we achieve outwardly, but who we become in the process. A person with a trained and disciplined mind is not easily shaken by failure, nor are they intoxicated by success. They understand that real success is measured by integrity, inner peace, and growth. They are guided by vision, not comparison. This kind of success may not always be visible on the surface, but it brings a lasting sense of fulfillment that external rewards cannot match. Ultimately, a focused mind does not chase everything. It chooses what matters. It discerns between what is urgent and what is important, and it builds a life around meaningful priorities. This intentional focus drives us to invest our time and energy into things that align with our values and goals. Over time, this way of living leads to steady improvement, deeper relationships, and a sense of peace that doesn't depend on external validation. The path to true success is not crowded. It is traveled by those who have trained their minds to stay steady, stay focused, and stay true to their deeper purpose. In a world that constantly demands our attention, learning to master our mind is not just a luxury, it is a necessity. When we take the time to train our mind, we equip ourselves with the strength to face challenges, the clarity to make wise decisions, and the discipline to stay true to our purpose. Every moment spent in mental growth is an investment in a more resilient, focused, and fulfilled version of ourselves. So let us not leave the most powerful part of us to chance. Let us choose every day to strengthen it, shape it, and train it, because the quality of our mind determines the quality of our life.